Morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Have we had our coffee yet this morning? It's only 4:40 in the morning, West Coast time, the 22nd of July, 2024. It's a Monday. Good Lord, I said all of that too. This is the Zombie Weaver, John C. of Roseman, California. Not alive, not awake. Wondering why he's up. Brrr. Yeah, that's me too. Okay, trying to stay away from the politics this morning, but they're going to be getting to me anyway. We got politicians saying something about this, something about that, and a lot of infighting at this point. Shout out to the buckwheat. Yeah, life is getting a little too complicated for the both of us, but we're still trying to figure it out. So I guess, that's how it works. Interesting ideas. I'm not quite sure if I follow some of them, but interesting ideas. But I'm also not exactly a guy looking for scapegoats either, of fingers being pointed left and right. I've seen it happen too many times. We're also saying it happened too many times. And you think some of this is new? That's what I keep telling people. History, history, history. Aristotle. He was basic forefather of our democratic times. Lived in ancient Egypt. No, not ancient Egypt. Ancient Greece. City-states they had back then. And yes, he did come up with the concept concerning about democracy, which they were practicing. And yes, it is the most easily corruptible form of government out there. What isn't the most easily form of government out there, the most strongest form we have, is a strong man, authoritative. At least that's what he kept stating in his memoirs and stories. Find out if you happen to go to Project Gutenberg and type out Aristotle, you're going to see a bunch of material on old Aristotle, including about how democracy is supposed to have been formed and processed. I think also internet.org as well. It's good reading material. I had to use it for college a long time ago, several years ago. When I got into Antelope Valley College, uh, shortly after Ma's death, and Dave and I, my big brother, were on our own. Yes, you notice the lighting's a little different. Well, I'm waiting for the bulb to burn out. I mean, a long while ago, about weeks ago, that thing started flickering left and right. So anytime now, that thing's going to burn itself out. And I can also prove to the management that we got a bulb not working. But if this thing will still continue to work without any fluctuations in it, I'll be okay. Because then I could actually get some work done in this place. When I was talking about politics, Political Science 101, a professor named John Vento is still at it, but I don't know if he's going to be retiring or not out of the college. He's one of the best teachers I knew concerning about how to pull stuff out of a student when it comes down for political science and how to understand history and political science go together, because it often does. How our vote matters. Yeah, you'd think the voting doesn't matter. It does. If we were not doing the electoral college, but just basically the popular vote, just a one vote, one person kind of situation. Yeah, numbers do matter. Numbers do matter. You'd be surprised in the history of our election cycles for 248 years that voting does matter, because the lowest votes possible, the guy you didn't want gets in. That's what happened to Hillary Clinton at this point. Hillary was going head to head with the Trumper. And because of all the crap that the politicians put her through, and she went through it brilliantly, but it did lower her opinion poll, and it did lower her status, basically, in the polls, that she wasn't able to get the votes necessary to defeat Donald Trump. Benghazi took a lot out of her. It was not the actions or the situation itself. It's the fallout that the politicians put her through because they wanted to put the Trump in. You also notice that people are wanting money more and more because in the pot, we keep thinking that there's a lot of money in the pot, especially when we go into the government systems and think, "Oh, good, now we got public money here to mess around with." Not exactly the public money. They're looking for the larger enterprises out there, the companies who are supporting things. Yes, said before, democracy is one of those government systems that's easily corruptible because people can be bribed. Unless, of course, these guys decide to put the, the stringent laws necessary to keep this from happening, and they're not going to do it because these guys are in it for the money. Some of them may be a bit altruistic, but in order to get into politics, in order to get into this kind of game from the local up, it is about the money. And we think, well, we need to change that. Well, yeah, we need to change. We need to get a good person in there. And by the time we get a good person in there, and they are trying so hard, they're also seeing that other people are getting greased left and right. It is a corruptible, changeable thing to go through. No one's immune from it. And you want to get up to Senate level, it's even worse because there's a lot of companies out there that want to keep their status quo. They want to continue to make the money off of people left and right. But we still need to make compromises in order to run the country, in order to get services necessary. I'm not saying this is a form of government we need to get rid of. Because consider democracy versus autocracy at this point. It may be the screwed up government system we have, but it is what we have. And it always has to put into checks and balances at this point. It has to. We have to have checks and balances in our own, you know. Hang on, I'm getting distracted again off the television there. I get up to get some work done. Shortly, I'll be getting working guys coming over here to take care of some stuff, but I have to make sure I got the rest of my stuff taken care of here. Because to me, it is important. And yes, I still have to deal with the muck and mud concerning about the politics of seeing what the hell is going on these days, to see which politician is trying to say the correct words in order to get our votes, yes. And see whether or not he's legitimate or not. Homework, homework, homework. And I have to do my own homework on this one. I have to see whether or not I trust this guy or not. If the name is recognizable and if he's been in any scandals or not. And believe me, the press will be reporting on that stuff. They're not going to get greased. They want to get their jobs done. They want to report the news. And we've seen a lot happening, haven't we? If I'm going to get to the local news at this point, we had a fire out, major fire, 300 acres burned. A few homes burnt down to crisp, and a few others damaged. I don't know how many people have been killed, but this was out in Riverside area. Somebody played with fireworks, and then we got damage. And this heat in the summertime, it's getting worse and worse with the fire season. How's our politicians going to be able to handle this one? It takes enforcement on this one. Now, here's the thing concerning about our democracy and the socialism of it, and also authoritative. As much as I understand about it, Buck, Authoritative, we have a strong arm. We have somebody putting down the law, whatever it is, because the higher up, either the entrenched elite or just the one person who's making the laws. He's got to have strong generals and then lieutenants and then people down below who do the dirty work. And the dirty work are usually the ones getting the grease from people. But they're also thumping on people left and right. Try this one. I think it was Venezuela. If I'm not mistaken. Go to my YouTube history because I was remembering something about this one here. Let me see if I can just find the stamps right here. Where the hell was it at? Alright. Had it been Madero, because I just remember seeing that schmuck. Alright, I gotta get into news on that one. Because I remember seeing that damn clip in there somewhere. Okay. Come on. Talk to me. Where's the news on this one? Oh, shit. Madero. I was reading something about that asshole. There. Alright, here we go. Someone wanted to find out. CNN. That's it. Strongman Madero. I thought I was reading about that asshole. This guy's been in public. He's been in politics over a decade already. There's been a few other people after this schmuck, actually before this schmuck, who's been running his country into the ground. You talk about being afraid of a Donald Trump situation here, pal. You're afraid that your vote doesn't count for anything. How about if your vote never counted in the first place and if you were forced to vote to get this guy in there because we want to maintain, actually, not we want to, he would want to maintain uh, a facade. He wanted to show a pretense that democracy works in this country, despite the fact he's an asshole. And believe me, once you're an asshole and you're in power, there's a lot of things that you can do, like rewrite a constitution left and right. It's free speech, voting, rights. Without a single, depriving a single vote is depriving freedom of speech, your rights to live, and your civil rights either surviving or tossed out. I kid you not. There have been elections thrown by a couple of votes here and there, local to even national. And if the numbers are low enough in a national election, you just put in the strongmen in office because they depend upon that. They ride on populism. They ride on the popular vote. Their opinion is influencing a hell of a lot of people, and the population is saying, okay, we'll go for this. But only the smallest population is getting the greatest amount of votes because everyone else assumes that the opposition is going to get in, therefore they're not going to vote. Somebody else will vote the asshole in. We've got elections overrun on that one, overturned on that one. And Trump versus Hillary was one of those. You changed the popular opinion about her or about your political candidate, your opposition. I mean, once you screw up the scales on this one, it's kind of hard to get the other guy back in office that you wanted in, if they're going to be running back again. I mean, once Hillary got out, she got out. And then we got Trump and his populist shit, and then we had 4 years of hell on that one. 2 years of political infighting from the political party he just squeezed in. He didn't squeeze in the Republicans, he put in the Trumplicans. And they all want to be like him. I want to be like him. The problem is he'd already been writing on his image for decades, thanks to Daddy and thanks to Grandpa. He conned everybody. That's all he is a con man, and he's still working on it. He's still working on you. He's still trying to work on me indirectly at this point. They're trying to tell me how I'm supposed to think, how I'm supposed to feel, what I'm supposed to do. How dare I think these thoughts? I'm against them. I'm against us versus them. How dare I? Because I happen to read, I happen to study, I happen to learn a few things left in my life about what's going on these days. And yes, we have people being greased left and right. Congratulations. Shit happens. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying shit happens. Things happen that way, unfortunately. We can make laws and we can get into public power for that, but in order to get a public power, you need to be greased. You need to have the funding necessary to get yourself situated, and then get a reputation going, get your street creds going, get your bills passed. But in order to do that, how's your back, by the way? Let's just say, I'll get the damn thing out again. There was a back scratcher on here. One of these. Here it is. Ah. All right, Buckwheat. I heard that your back needs to be virtually scratched. You have an itch. I have a tool. Let's make a trade. I want your vote. I want something from you. And therefore, wouldn't this be nice on your back? Yes? Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm virtually scratching that itch. I want something from you. Oh, the favor may not come now, but eventually it will. And then we will talk. And then you're screwed. Now you're in. And you got to find out what the other guy's major malfunction is. And once you are relieved of that particular itch on your back, now you got to start to worry whether or not you're going to be paying the piper on this one or not. It is at that point, if you're going to be continuing a political future at this point, let's say you're chasing things up a ladder here that you want. There are favors to be asked, favors to be done, and you're not going to like them because you're not going to like them. But in order to get the greater good done, there's always something to be screwed up on. Get to that point. And it sucks because this is what we're dealing with this life. This is not a new damn thing. This has been out there already. This is not just because America was created. No, this damn thing's a human condition. You look at the human history as far as back as we can go. Imagine what they were doing without it being recorded that I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. What? You got an itch in your back, right? I got a tool, I can scratch it. But you have to do something for me as well. Well, what do you want? Not now. I'm holding in that marker until something else happens, and then we will talk. But continue your meteoric rise to popular fame, fortune, power, and whatever you're seeking at this point. Keep in mind that there's going to be somebody down here who's going to be asking for that favor one of these here days, and they're going to be wanting to collect. You're probably thinking politics is evil. No, it's not. Unfortunately, when it comes down for democracy that we have, It's something that we still have. And it's not just democracy. Whether you consent to be governed or not, and don't consent to be governed, it's still the same situation. This is what we've been dealing with for all our lives, all of our generational lives. We still have to be aware of it. We can be educated about it, but we also can educate our youth, our future generation, to let them know that look, getting things done in the world, it's not altruistic. It's not all muscle and sweat on this one. It's also manipulation as well. And yes, it sucks for me to say this kind of situation because I'm saying the same thing all around. The only expression that we keep coming across left in our lives, a devil you know and a devil you don't know. If you know what this one particular schmuck does, and you know his modus operandi, is he still going to be miserable enough to be managed and administered under, or is there going to be somebody else for that matter? Will you get off the damn Hurricane's coming? They're going to kill you all. But then again, I got to deal with the damn after effects. I'll just do a little bit of spraying, and I still got to put out the damn traps on this one. But in order for me to get stuff, I have to do stuff, don't I? Oh God, I have to do that, don't I? Oh no. Yeah, you're disillusioned about a lot of things in life. Who isn't? We're getting older and older, and we're seeing things that should have been that we thought in our youth. And then we see reality happen, and we're like, what happened? Life happened. That's why we're still dealing with the shit in the first place. We have people trying to force us into different opinions. We have people trying to tell us that we're supposed to think about this, think about this. Try being in Oklahoma, or another red state at this point. I don't know if you are in a red state or not. And you are going to be subjugated to scholastic topics that you must complete. So if you're young enough for that one, for an argument's sake. Now, Mr. Buckwheat, we're starting a brand new semester, and according to the state legislature, all hail the great state legislature, and our superintendent of our education system, that they had deemed it worthy enough for us to learn about history through the holy texts. Now, I understand your affiliation because you had to fill out these cards to let me understand where these students are coming from. We need to know where your affiliation is, sir. Now, we had been encouraged strongly by our we can call him an educator at this point over here, the great educator, frickin' ass-kissing politician at this point over here. You didn't hear me say that, kids. You did not hear me say that. Not any one of you. Mr. Buckwheat, I just saw your hand slowly raising up. What is the question, sir? I'm Jewish, sir. You're what? I'm Jewish. Well, you're going to be learning a different viewpoint now, aren't you, sir? Now, this comes from the great state legislature and our superintendent of education's over here, who came up to the same channel as you did. Sir, there's a problem with that. He came out of state and got drafted into the state legislature, if I heard the stories. Falsehoods! Sir, it was in the paper. More falsehoods. Don't you understand? I'm trying to educate you in the right way of thinking. Look at the great 10 Commandments we have on our wall. Yes, sir. I can't read that. Yes, you can. They're in a language that everybody understands. Sir, it's in Latin. That's not my problem. You will study this, and you will write a report on that just for your obstinance, young man. Oh, good Lord, there's another one. What do you want? Sir, I study Islam. What? No! Here. We're going to be studying history together in this place. And the Bible will be our course to go through to study how the Bible has affected everybody here. I'm not going to hear any differences of opinions or different things here because. And any word saying otherwise, I'll hear from your parents. Come on! Oh, it's the parents. We were just getting class started. What was that? You need to have a discussion with us. Well, class, stir. All right, we're in the hallway now. What do you want? I'm about to teach my class something I'm railing against at this point over here. I'm a philosophy professor, not a damn history professor. Well, I'm a teacher anyway. And these students are mine for the class period. What do you want? No, you're not taking them out. No, you're not taking them out. You're not taking away my students. I have the Bible here in my hot little hands. And we're going to be reading about it because the great state legislator and the great state superintendent had told us that this was the only source we're going to be teaching them. And that's why you're pulling them out? Go, you cowards! Of course, that opposite right now is dramatized at this point. We're talking about school districts in Oklahoma are saying to the legislature and also to the superintendent who had voted his asshole in, or somehow he got in, slithered in. Maybe he did slither in through the votes. Did your vote count? In your particular area, Mr. Buckwheat, did your vote count to get in a snake in there that's going to be changing people's minds left and right? And did you happen to vet this person? And who said your vote didn't count? If we're talking about a popular vote, not electoral college. An electoral college that we understand is the greater the population, the more electors they have to vote in people. That's something we dealt with the 13 colonies. We didn't expect all this to happen. Ma, come here. It's all right, honey. Come here. Mama. Hey. Get. I'm here. I'm here. It's all right, sweetheart. It's all right. She's stressing again. She was stressing all night. You want to talk about your priorities? Even sometimes I have to modify my own college schedule just to take care of her. Things we do for family, things we do for caregiving. But also priorities that we also have to take care of as well in life. And yes, our vote will affect things happening. You think your vote doesn't matter? Think again, pal. Think again. Your vote matters. My vote matters. Depending on the party, depending on the position, depending upon the propositions and ballot measures you've got there that's going to be affecting your life directly. And also sometimes indirectly. Trust me, your vote matters. We will talk later on this one if we have to. For right now, you try to have a good day, and today, I got to deal with her, as usual. I got to deal with bug war. I got to get some of this area cleaned out, and hopefully the light doesn't flash out on me, which means I'll be stuck with this light over here until we get sunlight happening. She hasn't had breakfast yet. Neither have I. I'll only have my coffee. We will talk.